Okay, you've tried everything to get your man to go see a healthcare provider. You've begged, you've pleaded, you've made threats, you've given ultimatums, you've made appointments for them, and they still don't go. What's wrong with the man in your life? Well, first of all, you're not alone, and he is not unusual. The fact is that men are much less likely to see a healthcare provider for lots and lots of reasons, including the fact that men have been told that they need to be strong. They can't be vulnerable. They have to be stoic. If something happens to them and they feel pain, it's important for them to ignore it, wait for it to go away, because strong men don't usually access healthcare. And sometimes when a man does go for healthcare, they're made fun of, or it's at a time that's inconvenient. It's not a time that works for them with their work or their school schedule. In fact, there's a lot of reasons why men don't seek out healthcare. And if this is a man in your life, you may be noticing that they're having some issues. They may have high blood pressure that they're ignoring. They may have headaches. They may have back pain or a joint pain. They may be at risk for diabetes. They may not be able to perform sexually. All of these things add up, and they can feel really overwhelming for a man, and he may not want to even deal with it. It's a lot easier to just deny it, pretend that it's not there, hope it goes away, and then see what happens. Fact is that this can lead to a lot of visits to the emergency room, a lot of surgeries. And we know from a lot of data that the first time a man actually believes that he is at risk for heart disease is when he wakes up after having his first heart attack in an ICU. And then he's very motivated to do something because then it becomes real for him. So what are you supposed to do if you love someone, you have a man in your life and you're worried about them? So there's a couple of things that you'll want to do. And the first thing is to find out what is their motivation for the next few months or the next few years. Do they want to go on a vacation? Do they want to walk more? Do they want to hike? Do they want to have more sex? What is it that they're motivated by? Do they want to be a good provider for the family? I know one of my patients said to her partner, look, you're my knight in shining armor, but I really need you to be here for the long term for the family. You're an amazing provider. You protect all of us, and I love falling asleep in your arms every night. And I need you to be healthy. And that's why I've made an appointment for you to see a healthcare provider for a physical. And if you want, I'll go with you. Other patients have said, look, I know this is difficult for you. I know you're not used to going, but there's a lot more sex in your future if you decide that you'll go see a healthcare provider. Other things to do are to not shame or blame. You might also start by talking a little bit about some of the health benefits and some of the things that they will benefit from by better cardiovascular health, which means more exercise and changes in the diet. And a lot of men are motivated by sex. And I'm not trying to generalize here, but it's a way to say, look, you'll have better intimacy, better erections, they'll last longer. And in fact, your refractory period, the time that it takes between one orgasm and the next time you have an erection, that can decrease if you have better cardiovascular health. And you know what that means? It means that we're going to decrease some of the fats in our diet. We're going to have more vegetables, and we're going to reduce some of the carbohydrates, and we'll start walking, or you can walk or go to the gym or start lifting weights. You can preface a lot of this by saying you read about it, or you saw it on a video, or you saw it on a news show. So what else can you do? Sometimes that doesn't work. The direct approach is never going to work with some men. So sometimes it has to be something that just kind of happens. And I'll give you a couple of examples. It might mean that instead of letting people serve themselves a meal, especially someone who likes meat and potatoes every night. You may want to plate out a meal, and there's not enough for seconds. So your partner, if they're still hungry, they can fill up on vegetables or salad instead of another piece of steak. Another thing to do is to not buy high-fat animal protein. So instead of having pork chops and steak and beef, you may start to introduce more turkey and chicken into the diet and a lot more vegetables that are filling. The other thing to do is to consider having salad at the beginning of the meal so that people fill up, or a vegetable-based soup early, and then have dinner that's kind of a little bit later than you expect so that the person feels fuller and they don't eat as much. There's a lot of other things you might do. One is you can point out other men that you see walking around or at the grocery store or while you're out and about, men who obviously are struggling with a health condition. Let me give you an example. Let's say your partner has almost no calcium in their diet. They don't drink milk, they're not a big fan of cheese, they're not having yogurt, and you see an older man who may be hunched over, maybe using a walker. You might point that out to your partner and say, that person probably isn't getting enough calcium, and I'm worried that that could happen to you. I want you to be strong and tall and straight, and so I'd like to have more calcium in the diet. So I'm going to either have you have string cheese once in a while. I'm going to put cheese in the salads, or you may want to consider a calcium supplement. There's other ways to do it as well. You might want to consider talking to your partner about more exercise. More exercise is always better. And exercise not only will improve cardiovascular health, and that improves blood flow, and blood flow is what's important for sexual health and for having and maintaining erections. But you can also point out that when men exercise more and they use their muscles for weightlifting, weight training, or even resistance training from, oh my gosh, yoga, men have increases in testosterone level, and that increase in testosterone level helps with sex drive and helps with performance. So it all goes hand in hand. Now, unfortunately, I've done this, I'm linking men's health with sexual health. And, but men's health is so much more than just sexual health. However, many men are very motivated by their sexual health and then will seek out more health care for them. And the reason for that is that their sexual health, their ability to have an erection and keep an erection is actually related to their cardiovascular health. And here's why. The penis has many, many tiny blood vessels, and those blood vessels are even smaller than the blood vessels that surround the heart. So if a man is having trouble having an erection, that means there's not as much blood flow going to the penis. That also can signal that there could be cardiovascular disease around the heart. So the penis is actually what we call a bellwether, or it's a marker for what's going on in the heart. So if your partner or someone you care about is not able to have an erection, is not able to maintain an erection, they may have some cardiovascular issues, and that's often a way to have them see a healthcare provider. I hope this has helped give you a few tips, let you know that you're not alone if you're struggling with this in your relationship. And of course, if you like these videos, please click like and subscribe, and leave me a comment below about what has worked for you in your relationship, or any questions you have about men's health. Take care and be well.